Hi, I'm George McCandless, President and CEO of United Way of Central Georgia, and we are proud to be partnered with the Community Foundation of Central Georgia in the creation of the Central Georgia COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund. And the purpose of this fund is to allow us to provide financial support to the nonprofits that are working on the front lines dealing with the most vulnerable individuals and families in our community. And a big key in this is working collaboratively with my counterpart at the Community Foundation, Catherine Dennis.
Thank you, George. And it is an honor to work with George McCandless and the United Way of Central Georgia. And we have really benefited from this partnership as we lift up those nonprofits who are working so hard out in our region to take care of those who are struggling in this health and economic crisis. And we have worked hard to build a network with organizations in the community who are doing the heavy lifting. And one of the first things we did was establish bi-weekly calls with nonprofit leaders in 8 sectors: in food insecurity, childcare, healthcare, shelter, small business and workforce development, seniors, arts, culture and historic preservation, and animal welfare. That all of those organizations in those important sectors are struggling, but in these calls they're really figuring out a way to come together, how they can collaborate, sharing ideas with each other, but also telling us, George, what's going on. And I think the issue that has risen to the top is food insecurity, and United Way and your team is really going above and beyond on that. So could you tell us a little bit more about what y'all are doing?
Yeah, well, we've been working very closely with the Central Georgia Food Bank. One thing, our 211 service, they asked us if they could refer all of the calls they were getting to 211 so that we could answer them. Their volume had increased so much. They've had 2 things. One, a greater demand for food during this crisis, as well as a significant loss in their volunteers that man a lot of the food pantries across the region. And so we've been trying to work with them on finding volunteers and other ways to help distribute the food. One of which we've got coming up on May the 2nd, one that we're very excited about, the local faith community. We have 4 churches that are going to each do their own mobile food pantry on May the 2nd, and we were able to fund the logistical part of that through this fund. And our thinking is that this could be a model that we could then take to the other counties throughout Central Georgia to get us through this crisis.
I'll count that at the top of the list of people of ideas and people thinking of creative ways to change the way that food is access. There's access to food, but also Mosaic Development in Pleasant Hill. They are working with the group to that we've been able to fund. Of course, Meals on Wheels is doing a tremendous job with our seniors, but again, innovations coming out there, trying to figure out how they can do grocery delivery to these seniors who are sheltering in place and can't get out. So I think that you can sometimes see in a crisis that people's ingenuity rises to the top, and that good things will come out of a crisis.
And of course, next to food, a subject that's near and dear to all of our hearts are the children in the community. And so we've been staying in regular contact with our school superintendents. I know a lot of the Community Foundation staff especially has been doing a lot of surveying on the internet connectivity in the various communities, and we've been trying to address that. Part of the grants that have come out of the fund have gone to Baldwin and Houston counties to help them provide internet service in the homes of their children that did not have it before then, so that they could continue their schooling.
It's really critical. And I think as I'm thinking, as we finish up this call, one of the things that I think that you and I have agreed on from the beginning is that whatever solutions that develop, we hope that they'll be able to continue well past this crisis, that we're not just looking for a Band-Aid, that we're really trying to build some permanent solutions and around food access and the digital divide. And but also there's so many organizations out there that are working hard to support our communities and finding ways to keep lifting them up. So we thank.
Yeah, these are the unsung heroes. Yeah, I know a lot of people are hearing the great work our healthcare workers are doing, and they certainly deserve all the kudos they get. But I don't think a lot of people know that a lot of these agencies, they're still out there having to deliver services, whether, as you mentioned, Meals on Wheels or our homeless shelters, or even groups like Crisis Line and Safe House. They're still having a demand for their services and still needing to meet that demand.
And actually, most of them increase demand. And so,
Exactly.
but it's an honor for our organizations to be able to support financially. And so, if being able to reach out and if you're interested in supporting the Central Georgia COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund, we hope that you will contribute. And we thank you for it.
Thank you.